Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to Thunder on the Mountain here at Jenkins, Kentucky, where we are celebrating the 150th victory of James Garfield, future President of the United States, who fought on this beautiful land, actually on March 16th, 1861. And then tomorrow, we're looking at the return of John Hunt Morgan. And he came through here on June the 1st, 1864, I do believe. You know, I'm blessed when I travel. I get to meet a lot of people, and I have a dear friend here. He is from actually South Carolina, and his name is Jim Bay, and he has come here with a very special gun. And like Jim, introduce you and welcome to Kentucky.
I'm glad to be here in the great state of Kentucky.
Well, Jim, you brought a special gun with you. Could you tell us the name of it and a little bit about it?
I brought the Williams machine cannon. This gun was developed by a man from Kentucky. His name was D.R. Williams. I think he was from Lexington, and he designed this gun in 1862, and he's got Confederate patent number 121. It was first used at the Battle of Seven Pines at the beginning of the war, and the Confederacy made 21 of them. 4 of them survived the war. They're in museums today, and what I have is a reproduction. This was actually the world's first machine gun. It came out a year before the Gatling gun.
Isn't that amazing? And just think if they thought it was viable and valuable, what a difference it would have made in that terrible war that we call the war between the states.
Yes, it would have made a big difference. The Confederacy, like I said, had ordered 21. They had 21 made, and they ordered 20 more, but they were so expensive, they never did make the second.
Right. Now, behind us are a couple of mountain Hollisters, and I understand they can fire around, what, 3 rounds a minute?
3 rounds a minute.
Now, how about your gun? How many will it fire?
The Williams gun will fire 60 rounds a minute.
60 rounds a minute?
Yep.
That's amazing. Can you imagine that kind of firepower? And how far does it shoot its projectiles?
The range on that gun is roughly 1 mile.
Wow, 1 mile. So it is indeed the very first.
It's the world's first machine gun.
First machine gun, prelude to the Gatling gun, isn't it?
1 year before the Gatling.
1 year. Wow. Well, we appreciate you being here, Jim, so much, and in this county, and we really love to celebrate our history and heritage all the way from revolutionary times to current day men and women serving in Afghanistan and Iraq. And by the way, where are you from, Jim?
I'm from a little town in South Carolina called 6 Mile. It's roughly about 8 miles from Clemson, Clemson University.
How long did it take you to get here today?
It takes about 5 hours.
Okay. Well, we really appreciate your time, and I know you have a busy schedule, so I will let you go. And again, thank you so much, Jim, for being here.
Like I said, I'm grateful to be here in the great state of Kentucky. Beautiful day, beautiful weather, and
we've been blessed.
I love to recreate history.
I do too. Thank you so much, my friend. Dear friends, I am blessed today being up here in Jenkins, Kentucky at the amphitheater where we will be having the play Little Shepherd of the Kingdom Come tonight. And I have a man who was 17 years my junior, and we fought beside each other for a series around 16, 17 months. A man that was truer to a pine than a pine needle, and he executed everything I asked with precision and exactness. Ladies and gentlemen, I could only be talking about one man, that great Virginian, General Stonewall Jackson. General Jackson, how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm good today, General. It's great to be here at Thunder on the Mountain, even though I would not have been a part of this event.
Neither would I.
But it's a great event. It's a wonderful day, beautiful, no clouds in the sky, and nice weather. At least that 100-degree weather we usually have.
And it reminds me of our dear state of Virginia, doesn't it? Which is just a click away.
Oh, yes, yes.
Just a step away, sir. I know you had many accomplishments in your life and many wonderful things. And I'd like you just to share with us just a few things that you think are the highlight of your life, and not just military, but who you are as a person.
Well, the 2 greatest things in my life was Miss Anna.
I better say Miss Mary for myself too. Okay.
And I'll never will forget November the 23rd. Little daughter born to me. And,
I remember.
And in that letter, it stated, General, that she looked a lot like Papa.
I was a little concerned when you told me that.
And she weighed a mere 8.5 pounds.
I do.
But she was a lot of my life, sir.
I believe we was at Moss Neck at that time?
Yes, sir. Corbin's Hall.
Corbin's Hall.
Yes, sir.
And there were some beautiful children there, and there was one little girl, her name slips me.
Little Janie Corbin.
Janie. Yes, sir.
5 years old.
Beautiful child.
And, little Janie, she would bring me biscuits and jam out from the big house out to where I had my headquarters set up, and the little lady would sit and cut out paper dolls. And
I believe you would be sitting there doing it. I believe
yes.
I caught you on occasion doing the same thing.
I did play with the little girl, and she rode me like a horse. And,
I remember on their shoulders riding away.
Yes, sir. And that did happen. And I actually, you remember the old dirty-looking kepi that my wife made for me that had the gold band on it, which I thought that was much too much for the General. And I took that gold band off that kepi and put it in little Janie's hair.
I remember. And I remember how sad it was when we received the news of her loss on that day. And,
I did offer up a great prayer for Mrs. Corbin and her.
I do understand. Well, General, I know your time is limited, and we are just so honored to have you here in Letcher County, right across from Wise, Virginia, enjoying our history and heritage. And if we may take off the cappy for just a second, could you give us your real name and where you're really from?
Danny Buckner.
Danny Buckner.
Live in Newport, Tennessee.
And how far away is that from here?
We're about 3 hours.
3 hours. Well, let me tell you how proud and honored I am that you are with us. And if I may say something about this man, we go to many events. We've done from Charleston to Shiloh, Franklin, so many events together. And our ideal is to remember our history and heritage. So, again, thank you, sir. And God bless you. Thank you. Once again, we are here at Thunder on the Mountain at Jenkins, Kentucky, and there's so many different characters here, but I had one that I just had to interview, and when you look at him, I'm wondering exactly what and who he's portraying, and I'd like him to tell us his name and a little bit about his uniform and where he's from. So, sir, would you mind sharing that with us?
Yes, sir. My name is Jack Hawkins, and I'm an independent sharpshooter for the 1st South Carolina Artillery.
Well, independent sharpshooter, exactly what do you do as a sharpshooter?
I pick off the commanders.
Oh, I understand.
Other than you, sir.
I do understand, sir. And why did you, with the uniform, why do you have green?
That blends in, sir.
That's true.
It's just typical. It just blends in.
Just like butternut.
Just like butternut. They can't find me.
Mm-hmm. And I could not help but notice that you have quite a rifle. What type is this, and what's its range?
Well, sir, this is a 50 caliber Hawken muzzleloader.
Wow.
With just a scope on top.
Scope.
Yeah, I can get close to a mile with it.
Close to a mile. Is it the whole like the Whitworth, that type of rifle that was, highly sought after during the time? I think there was only like 200 came over here, but this is the one that was more common?
Yes, sir. This was the more common of the two.
Okay. Well, I must say your outfit is quite distinguished, and I cannot help but notice your bracelet. Can you tell me about that?
Yes, sir. This is just a speed loader for when you go to prime your rifle. It's just quicker to get to than having to deal with a cartridge box and a cap box.
It makes a world of difference. And I notice your boots and everything about you. You have your gun. You're loaded for bear, as they say in eastern Kentucky, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Well, sir, we're glad. And may I ask where you're from?
I'm from North Carolina.
You're from North Carolina. Well, sir, we've had people from South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina here, and it is an honor to serve with you and get ready for the battle, for they're coming. As surely as good Lord gave us this beautiful weather, those boys in blue are coming up Pound Gap.
Yes,
and
sir.
Let's be ready for them.
We will.
Thank you, my friend. God bless you. Friends, today I'm blessed to have a dear friend of mine. He's from Elkhorn City, but I see him all over the country, and he is actually he is the founder of the Hawkins Publishing Company, and he also is a reenactor. I'm going to ask him to give his name and who he portrays in the reenacting world.
I'm Anthony Hawkins, and I portray Lieutenant Colonel Edwin Trimble of the 10th Kentucky Cavalry.
And if anyone ever really look into history, Trimble was a very unique character and a very brave man, and I believe he met his demise, did he not, at Saltville, is that right?
Saltville, Virginia, October the 2nd, 1864.
1864.
He fell in battle and devastated his men, devastated the people of the mountains when he was killed.
Because he's inspiring, just like Colonel Caudle.
Absolutely.
And stuff. And we notice you have a lot of books for sale, and that you looks like to me a total variety. If someone in viewing audience wanted to get your book, can they go online or anything?
They can go online to ofsavagefury.com and click on the bookshop. I do Southern Appalachian history from Native American all the way up to World War II. And we've got the greatest history in the world right here in the mountains. And our kids don't know it. And that's why I do what I do. I want our kids to understand what a special people they are.
Yeah. Well, you know, Abraham Lincoln, that we'll be interviewing shortly, he said, I pray God is on our side, but we must have Kentucky to win this war.
Kentucky.
And to me, that says a lot. And we must know our history, especially in eastern Kentucky, southwestern Virginia, Tennessee, because we are all brothers in this.
We're a people who founded a country.
Absolutely.
The country was founded on our backbone. Our people here, the Scotch Irish and the Native American and the European people that settled these mountains, were the toughest people in the world.
Absolutely. And I just shared with them the story of Uncle Dan Richardson, the black individual who owned more property in Letcher County after the war than most people do.
Absolutely.
He's an amazing man. So that's what we do. And I know you're busy. I see people looking at your wares, but I just wanted to say thank you for serving us, and we thank you for your time of coming here to Thunder on the Mountain and making this a success.
You're quite welcome, sir. It's my honor.
Well, mine too, sir. God bless you, my friend.
You too. My name is Anthony Hawkins from Ashcamp, Kentucky. I was born in 1965. I'm an area historian. Love the mountain tales, and would like to tell you a little bit about this character right here today, Bad John Wright, or as most people know him now as Devil John. But during the time period, he was called Bad John. We also talk a little bit about the Jones-Wright feud in 1885, which was Letcher County's great feud that stemmed from the Civil War. It was between John Wright and his men and Clabe Jones from Hindman. So I think all Letcher Countyans need to learn this and learn the stories that make us have the greatest history in the world right here in the mountains. John served out the war, and he was a smart man. He played both sides against the middle. In other words, he was Union, he was Confederate, he was whatever he needed to be to survive. And a lot of our mountain people were that way. They were smart enough to survive and get the best deal that they could wherever they could. The story I want to tell you a little bit about is Bad John when he was a federal marshal. And Bad John became a federal marshal after the Civil War, and was known far and wide as a lawman. But during the war, he had met up with the James brothers, that's Jesse and Frank. And Jesse and Frank came into eastern Kentucky after the war and robbed the bank in Huntington, West Virginia. Well, they broke from there, and their men went up the Tug River while Jesse and Frank headed up the Big Sandy River, and they were coming straight for John's because they knew John would have horses. They didn't know, however, that he was a federal marshal. And By this time, John had been ordered to form a posse and hunt for the James gang. So when they arrived, he swore them into the posse, and they rode around eastern Kentucky looking for themselves for a couple weeks and drew federal pay. And at the end of that time, he paid them, gave them fresh horses, and sent them on back to Missouri. Okay, I'm Anthony Hawkins, and we're back. And what we want to talk about just for a second is the 1885 Jones-Wright feud. And as I stated earlier, that was between Clabe Jones from Hyman and John Wright and his faction from here at Jenkins. And this is a wonderful book on it by Ben Luntz and Nancy Wright Bays, who is also a descendant of Bad John. And this fight was probably Letcher County's greatest feud, and it stemmed from the Civil War. Went on for a couple years, several deaths, but not a lot's known about it. And so the people of Letcher County really need to understand this feud. It was as important, if not more, than the Hatfield-McCoy feud. So everybody needs to learn and read about this feud. Another story I'd like to tell you is about the Pound Gap, and this is an early pioneer story. The man who discovered the Pound Gap was named Christopher Gist, and Christopher Gist discovered the gap in 1751. He was George Washington's close personal friend and chief scout. Now, George Washington came in and surveyed the Big Sandy River, and legend always says that he came down from Pittsburgh down the Tug River to Louisa. But if he came in with Christopher Gist as his guide, he came to Castlewood and he came through the Pound Gap. So I'm of the opinion, as are some other very good historians, that he actually came through the Pound Gap. Now, another thing that we need to understand about the Gap is we had 3 presidents of the United States march through the Pound Gap during the Civil War. You had James Garfield, you had Rutherford B. Hayes, and you had William McKinley. So, folks, we have a lot of history right here in the Pound Gap. It was a more important entrance into Kentucky than the Cumberland Gap. We just didn't have the press that the Cumberland Gap had. So be proud of where you're from, and be proud of your area's history, and learn it and teach your children so they'll know and they'll be proud of who we are here. We're the greatest people in the world. Just most of us don't know it. Thank you. Okay, I'm Anthony Hawkins again, and we're back. I own Hawkins Historical Publications, and some of these great books I'm talking about are available from me. I'm from Ash Camp, so you can reach me at 606-754-8622 or online at www.ofsavagefury.com. What I want to talk to you now is another celebrity that we had that came through the Pound Gap, General John Hunt Morgan. And John Hunt Morgan was a Lexington elitist. However, he was very good to our men here in the mountains, and our men loved him. He treated them very well. He called them by their first name. Morgan was a cavalry raider, and he was a Confederate raider. And what makes him special to our guys that served with him was the fact that they didn't call him General, they called him Johnny. And he called them by their first name. He had an uncanny ability of knowing everybody's first name. So they were called by their first name. And when they rode with this man, they would do anything that he asked them to do, which led to him getting in some pretty bad places. They followed him into the bluegrass through the Pound Gap. They crossed on June the 1st, 1864. And right about the level we're standing on here now was the Union encampment that they overran. Of course, there was a blinding rainstorm, but the Union Army had cooked dinner. And so when they routed the Union forces, they sat down and enjoyed a real nice dinner right here on this very flat that you're looking at. They stayed here, and the next morning they started down the Kentucky River Valley, on through Whitesburg and down through Troublesome into the bluegrass region of Kentucky. And what made our guys special with General Morgan is half of them didn't have horses, and they kept up with the horsemen on foot. They went down, and the first battle that they really got in beside the Gap was at Mount Sterling, Kentucky. And they fought urban warfare at Mount Sterling, so they were fighting building to building, house to house. And they captured Mount Sterling the first day, but on the second day, they were tired and they slept in. And the Union Army crept up on them and overran them at daylight while most of them were still asleep. But they were able to fight their way out. Mountain people don't usually give up very easily, so they held their own. The next day they went to Cynthiana, Kentucky. And the first day of battle at Cynthiana, they were victorious and captured all the Union forces. However, there was a problem. They had shot up all their ammunition for their long Enfield type rifles. Now Morgan was worried about them, so he ordered them to pile those long rifles up and burn them. And our men refused, because the short rifles just were beneath their stature. They liked a big rifle where they could shoot long distances. And so at daylight, they shot out ammunition pretty quick when Union forces attacked them again. And when they were out of ammunition, they fought hand to hand as long as they could stand it. But pretty soon they were being overwhelmed. And they only had one way out, and that was into the Licking River. Now a lot of these mountain boys couldn't swim, so many of them didn't make it out of the river. But the ones that did limped back through the Pound Gap. It took some of them as much as 2 months. It took John Wright longer because John Wright had been shot and hid in the basement in Cynthiana. So it took them a while to get back to Virginia. And they followed Morgan up until Greenville, Tennessee, where Morgan was ambushed and murdered. And it was a great blow to our mountain people because they loved Morgan so much that they were proud to the day they died, even as old men, of being Morgan's men.
Well, it's absolutely a beautiful day up here at Thunder on the Mountain. I'm really excited. We've had an exciting day Saturday, and we just got through with church service, and I'm here with someone extremely special in my life, both personally and someone who is a reenacting brother. I'm here with Jerry Parsons, and I just want to welcome you to Letcher County, Kentucky, and I know you have been here ever since the conception of Thunder on the Mountain, but I'd like you to again tell me your name, where you're from, and then some of the events you've been at in your career.
Well, my name's Jerry Parsons, and I'm from Pennington Gap, Virginia, down in Lee County, and I've been reenacting. This will be my 28th year, and I've been honored to be able to reenact in almost 9 states across the United States, everywhere from the larger events such as Gettysburg to smaller events like the Battle of Jonesville that we put on annually. Mm-hmm. And like I say, in about 8 or 9 states every year, and got to take on a lot of young men and teach them the true history of the Civil War and the 1860s, and just become a blessing in my life to be able to honor our ancestors in this great hobby.
One thing I know about you, and I don't want to put you on the spot or embarrass you, but I remember years ago when we first started, you had a group that a lot of the reenactors made fun of called Jerry's Kids. Remember that?
I do remember that, and it's humorous now, and it was even funny back then. But we had recruited by doing living histories in middle schools and elementary schools, and we got a lot of the younger kids that wanted to get into reenacting, and they've been a blessing to us through the years. And some as young as 5, 6, 7 years old, and now have gone on to serve our country in the Marines and the Navy and the services, and still reenact with us. And everyone that has started out with us at a young age is still with us. Mm-hmm. And but what was funny about it is we'd go to reenactments and we'd take 18 or 19 of these younger kids with us, and they'd say, "There comes Jerry's Kids," and it got to be kind of a joke around. Mm-hmm. Here comes Jerry's Kids. But as they started growing up, Jerry's kids, of course, grew up as well. And now these are young men that are in reenacting and that are as knowledgeable as myself or anybody else that is making fun of them back then.
Exactly. I remember we was at Cumberland Gap, and little Zach, I believe he was 4 years old, came up to us, and his dad asked, said he's never reenacted, said, can he join us? And I remember you said, that'd be good, and we appointed him as my one of my staff and held on to my sword strap, and he was the hit. And I guarantee you that little feller, when he was 6, 7 years old, knew safety, he knew everything, and he's still with you. I talked to him the other day.
That's true.
And I think the greatest point is it helped other people realize that we are dinosaurs if we do not pass it to the younger kids. And we wholeheartedly invite young people to learn the safety, go through the drill, and become part of this, because you know, I look at us and look in the mirror, and I scare myself at times when I look in the mirror. But I know that our star has shone and is slowly fading away. Now it is time for someone else to take over. Also, you mentioned Gettysburg, and I know you had the honor of hitting the angle a few years back, did you not?
About 4 years ago, at the 140th anniversary of Gettysburg, it was probably the high point of my whole career in reenacting when I was asked to portray General Armistead. He's always been one of my favorites. I've done extensive study on him through the years, but when they asked me to play Armistead, it really lifted my heart, because if anybody has read anything about the history of Gettysburg and the battle, Armistead was tied with the duty of hitting at a certain spot on the wall, which was called the angle, and he was the only Confederate general to cross the wall.
Right.
And of course he lost his life in that venture, but him and his men did cross the wall, and the only Confederate division to be able to do that. So that was the high point of my whole hobby, or career if you will, in reenacting, was being able to portray such a great gentleman.
Right. And I know here we've had Stan Dalton, a few others portraying John Hunt Morgan, but I think you have double duty, don't you, sir?
I have had a double duty this weekend. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be able to do Garfield yesterday, and of course I've changed jackets, and today I'm going to do John Hunt Morgan. So right. I've got a little bit heavy duty on me for the weekend. From
Garfield's victory in 1862, we're going to June 1st, 1864, with the return of John Hunt Morgan, and I'm looking forward to that shortly. So I really think that through living history, we can preserve our heritage and history and embrace the sound principles that this country is founded upon.
I agree with you 100%. And like you said about the young children and the young adults, it's time for them to come in and get into reenacting, to realize their heritage and to explore the possibilities of getting into reenacting and carry it into the next generation.
And to me, when we reenact it, it is a family affair. It's like a brother and sisterhood. It beats anything I've ever seen. Wherever you go, you leave with new friends. And that's wonderful.
That is correct.
General, sir, I thank you so much, and God bless you, and be safe out there.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm Anthony Hawkins, Hawkins Historical Publications from Ashcamp, Kentucky. My phone number is 606-754-8622, and the website is www.ofsavagefury.com. And these are just some of the books that I carry. I do Southern Appalachian and Letcher County and Native American and Kentucky history. This is a great little book about Blue Jacket by Alan Eckert, and Eckert is one of the foremost frontier riders in the United States who sadly passed away. But Blue Jacket ties into Letcher County, and I want to tell you a little story about how. Blue Jacket, of course, was a white man who was captured and raised by the Shawnees. He was captured when he was a child. He became a great war chief during the Revolutionary War and even the War of 1812. And this area right here in Letcher County was part of Blue Jacket and Cornstalk's territory. So as he became an old man and the Indian Wars were over, a couple guys paid him a large sum to lead them to the Great Shawnee Cave. And he came up the Big Sandy River to about where Elkhorn City is now. And so Blue Jacket told those guys in camp that night that the Great Shawnee Cave was towards the Sounding Gap. And for those of you who don't know, Pound Gap used to be called Sounding Gap in the frontier days. Well, Blue Jacket started towards Pound Gap with the party the next morning, and he slipped off and left them stranded. And he told them that the Great Spirit had told him that he could not show them the location of the cave. And as he escaped, he came on up Elkhorn Creek and back down the Sandy to Ohio. So great war chiefs like Blue Jacket and Cornstalk, this was their territory. This was Shawnee territory. Of course, we also had another great frontiersman in the area named Daniel Boone. And right about where Martha Jane School is was a tree that had Daniel Boone's name carved on it, and a great number of our older Letcher Countyans got to see that tree in person. And it's gone now, but it still exists, and it's in the museum at Levi Jackson State Park at London. So if you ever are down around London, run out to the museum and take a look at the Boone tree that was actually from where Martha Jane Potter School is now. It's a great piece of Letcher County history that's been taken out of here on us. I wish it could return. But Boone was here quite often, and he traveled in the Kentucky River Valley and the Big Sandy Valleys. So we had a lot of frontier activity here that a lot of people just didn't know. Chief Benj, who was also half white and half Cherokee, raided here and actually attacked several groups of people in Letcher County, and lots not known about our frontier time. So take time and read a book. If you have to go to the library, go to the library and get a book, or order a book from me or anybody else. Just learn your history. Teach your children our history. What I want to do about right now is talk about a little history for women. And most people don't understand that women fought in the Civil War just like men did. There wasn't as many of them, but the ones that did fight fought bravely and were actually pretty good soldiers. One in Letcher County here, in fact, served under Ben Cottle in the 13th Kentucky Cavalry. Now, women weren't allowed to fight. It was illegal for them to do so, but they got pretty good at disguising themselves. Most of them would bind their chest up in cloth and tuck their hair under their hat, and make themselves more like the men of the time. In other words, indistinguishable. But they were heck of a soldiers, and they did their duty to the end. And this particular book is called They Fought Like Demons, Women Soldiers in the Civil War. And I urge all you women to take just a second, and you know, you've had more power than you realize all along, and have been a greater part of history than what you realize all along. So be sure to study and learn about the women of that era also. This is a special book, and again, it's kind of for the women. This is about the most powerful person, Native American, that was on the American frontier, and her name was Nancy Ward. And if you'll notice, there's a lot of wards in Letcher County and Pike County, and some of them even go back to Nancy. Nancy was a Cherokee chieftainess, and she was first cousin to the most fierce warriors of the day, such as Dragon Canoe and Little Turtle, and some of those. But Nancy was a matriarch of the Cherokee Society. In other words, her word was law. And if you were a white prisoner in one of her Cherokee towns, and they were going to burn you at the stake as a torture, if Nancy walked out of her hogan and just walked out, she didn't have to say a word. All she had to do was walk outside and walk back in, those people, those Cherokees, knew that that meant for you to be turned loose. She had that much power. And that's kind of unusual for a woman in frontier America, Native American or otherwise, to have that much power, but Nancy did. Nancy was a great friend to the white settlers, whereas her first cousin Dragon Canoe was not. But Nancy sided with the English up until the Revolutionary War, and then she sided with the colonials. And she probably saved thousands of lives. So she was a fantastic woman, and any ward in Letcher County can be proud if they descend from Nancy. And so what I want to challenge every ward in Letcher County to do, even the judge, is to find out if they descend from Nancy, and then they can be proud of their heritage and who they are. And this all goes back to what I've always said. We need to know who we are, and we need to know where we've been so we can know where we're going to go. And what I'd like to do is do one for the children now. This book is called Too Young to Die, and it's Boy Soldiers of the Union Army. And what a lot of people don't understand is that these young boys fought during the Civil War real heavily. And the youngest soldier that I can document in the state of Kentucky was 8 years old. And he was in the 45th Kentucky Union Infantry. And the 45th Kentucky Union Infantry was the regiment that was camped about on this flat on June the 1st, 1864, when John Hunt Morgan entered Kentucky. Now, this 8-year-old was not a drummer boy. He was a soldier. His service record states that he was a very good soldier. So he fought with a lot of vigor. And the interesting thing about this young lad is that his father and his brother were in the force that was coming over the mountain with the Confederates. So he was fighting his own father and his own brother. And so to learn about these children, and read Too Young to Die by Dennis Kazee, and you'll find it well worthwhile and learn a little bit of your own history. The subject I want to talk about for a few minutes are black Confederates. Now, when most people hear about the Civil War, what they think about is it was a war to end slavery. But what they don't understand is slavery was not a big issue here in the mountains. If a family did own a slave or two, they were more than likely to be part of the family and live right in the main house with those that owned them. And the mountains was their home, as the South was their home. So when their brothers or whoever went to war, it was only natural for them to go to war also. Now, the black Confederates are kind of shunned, and most people don't believe they exist, but they did exist. Several served with Colonel Ben Cottle in the 13th Kentucky Cavalry from right here in Letcher County, as well as Diamond's 10th from Pike County. To tell you a little bit of another good story about two black Confederates, there wasn't very many people living on the Big Sandy River during the day, and Anthony Hatcher was a young white guy who grew up on the Big Sandy. Now, he had two playmates, and they were Willie and Woodson, who were the same age as him. So they grew up together hunting and fishing and playing. And when Anthony went to war, Willie and Woodson went to war also in Diamond's 10th Kentucky Cavalry. At the Battle of Saltville, Virginia, they were attacked by black Union forces. And it's not known whether they knew each other or what happened. But Willie became a little excited, and he left his space in the trench and charged down at the black Union soldiers. Now remember, he was also black. And he was shot in the hip and fell. Well, his brother Woodson cleared the trench to try to go help him, as did Anthony Hatcher. And Anthony Hatcher was shot, but he was not killed. He dropped just as he climbed out of the trench to try to get Willie. Woodson got there, but he got there at the same time as the Union forces who were attacking the Confederates at Saltville. And he caught a rifle butt right down the end of his nose, and both brothers were captured. And they were taken from the mountains, the only place that they'd ever known as their homes, to Chicago, to a rat-infested prison camp called Camp Douglas. Now, the problem with it is, when the war was over, the federal government couldn't release them because they couldn't admit that the war was not being fought for slavery. So they didn't know what to do with them. Now, they were a little luckier than most black Confederates who were captured because they were not executed. But they were held a full year after the war was over and all the white soldiers had been sent home. They were still held in prison camp until November of 1866 because the federal government couldn't admit that black Confederate soldiers had actually fought the war. Now, when they came home, Woodson went to Anthony Hatcher's widow, and he stood guard on her porch during the feuds all through up until his death with a shotgun to protect his brother's widow. And I say his brother, I don't mean his biological brother, but his brother who he'd grown up with and played his whole life with and served up until his brother was killed. So black Confederates were a forgotten chapter of history, and there were many of them right here in the mountains. And people need to know, because to forget them is to forget who we are.
Colors to the front!
And when we see that flag, we consider it a flag of honor, just like our American flag, because our ancestors fought for it. And if you're a veteran in this crowd, I would like you to raise your hand. If you're a veteran, raise your hand. We want to say thank you for your service. We will honor you over here. And we want you to know that those men stand upon a shadow at this very moment. Those women stand upon a shadow looking down. And I can hear Robert E. Lee in his very voice saying, "That's my man Patrick." Garland, he carries the torch to the future, to rising generations. This is your day. Just like those boys in blue, that is their day, our day, because we're all Americans and we love this country. Gentlemen, ladies, troops, for God, for country, for honor, I salute you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. General Lee. Lee!
Oh, you. It's you. It's not me. It's you all, not me, sir. Sorry. Okay, get ready to speak, sir.
Attention, company.
Fire me, sir.
Shoulder, arm. In rank, right face. Forward, march. Fires to the front! Cover flying. Take your breath first. And kneel. Load up. Load. Load and hold.
What they're doing right now is putting the powder in, powder among the drops, and ran it in, make sure it's in there. Jim's vendor is going to pick and priming, picking the powder, priming, going to put the colors in.
Fire by company at the left oblique. Come to the ready. That's fine if they can't over. Aim. Fire. Load. Quick. Load. Hey boys, look. Skirt. Look at me. All right, boys, I have spotted sharpshooter. Fire at will! Fire at will on the sharpshooter! Fire at will! On the sharpshooter! Get them sharpshooters! We can't let them get out of here, boys! you take the woods over there. See if he can get in behind him. Go! Get in behind him. Get in behind him. Chase him down. Boys, take it to him, boys! These cannonballs, when they load, get them heads down. Oh! Down range, 300 yards. Order it, fire at will. We've got here comes the scout, boys. Shoot the scout, shoot the horse. Lay down, guys. Lay down. Sharpshooter, move in on him! Get him, boys! Get him, boys! Shoot him in the back! Fire! That gun got away! That gun ain't got away.
The sharpshooter's job was to kill off.
You will stay over at this and we'll rejoin it. Fire at will is the order. Fire at will. Got a man down over here. Keep your heads down, boys. Company, load and hold. Load and hold. Hold. Here they come, boys. I knew these got away and left.
Push it, boys!
Oh. Load and hold. Stay down. Stay low. We got good coverage here. We got good coverage. Don't be scared. We got to fight. We need this part of the country. There's some of that succession trash.
They got chickens, they got metal.
Word.
Get them, boys, I'm hungry.
Company. on, boys. Stay low. We got you covered. We got them. Come to shoulder when loaded.
Close the range, boys. Close the range.
We going over the breastwork.
Prepare to fire by fire. Grab the right. Prepare to fire by fire.
Yeah, when they do, rise and go.
Make ready. Ready. Commence fire.
Go. Somebody rise. Over the breastwork. Forward.
How many you get?
Empty mine. You get Eddie.
Cannoneers, open up! Open up! 300 yards! Open up, boys! My left flank, come up! Left flank, come up 10 yards! Come on up a little bit, boys. Get that right here, right oblique. Right oblique, No. Cannoneer! Fall back in good order. Fall back in good order. Fire on the windrow. Fire on the windrow. Come on, boy. Ready. Hold this. Hard to him. Elevate. Hard to him. Take him out. Online!
Get in line!
Hey, General!
Look
at my boys.
Come on back, Billy. Kill me, That's it for you, Greg. Shall we go, Arthur? Shall we go get him?
Ceasefire! Ceasefire! Resurrect! Yeah! Join the command! Rejoin your command.
Now, whose little soldier is this?
That's Greg's soldier.
Do you think we could have this little soldier maybe give a command? Would he be willing to do that in a minute?
Come here. Come here. See this young man? He wants you to do something.
Would you care to do something here in just a minute? I'll holler at you.
Say yes.
Okay?
You have a prize? I want a prize.
Hey, we got a prize. We'll get him.
We got a prize.
Have to pay him now.
I'm
Yes,
telling you.
we'll get him. In just a minute, I'll get you, okay?
Dress it up. To the right. Okay. That's right. Down. There you go. There you go. That's right. Okay. Thank you. Come on down, soldier.
Come, sir. Come join me. Yes, sir. Are you ready?
Now we're ready, sir. Order. Arm.
Today we stand for sacred principles. Principles given to us by our founding fathers. Principles that must never be abandoned, for if they are, America will surely die. Now and forever we must remember the cause of freedom, and that the cost is paid in blood, is not a gift, but a sacrifice the people have made. As these men that you see before you and these women that you see before you on the artillery, on the horses, as well as infantry, they sacrificed their weekend, their time to be with us, and I think they deserve a great round of applause. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, troops. We always honor God in all things, the very first, and today we dedicate this to Him along with those people we no longer have with us, from our dear Colonel Atkins to Chicken Bone to Indian Charlie, there's so many names, but they know they're here. They stand upon a shadow and looking down upon us, as is our good Lord. And today we want to offer this tribute, 3 volleys, sir, in honor of our God and those who have gone before. Take command of your troops, sir.
Battalion. Company. Ready? Hey. Fire! Recover! Arm. Load and fire.
Shoulder, arm. Load.
I do not mean to embarrass, I do not mean to put anyone on the spot, but I'd like to thank several people, all of you, but you're only as good as your leadership. And we are fortunate to have good leadership, and I have General Parsons, Hoot, Jim, a lot of people, Patrick, that are here that do this to honor our history, and thank you, sir, for your service. And at this time, I want you to know that our history is alive and well in Letcher County. I want you to know that at Middle Creek, our history is alive and well. Private, would you come here? This man has been instrumental in helping set up the Battle of Middle Creek at the national event, and I'm going to let him tell you what is coming our way in September.
The second week of September, we're going to honor the 150th anniversary of the Battle of Middle Creek. It's recognized as Eastern Kentucky's largest battle, and it made a presidency. General Garfield later became our president. It'll have 2 battles, one of which will be on Saturday at 2 o'clock, another one on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Since our battle usually falls on September 11th, we also do a 9/11 ceremony on Friday. where we honor all the dead that we've had in our community and those people that lost their lives in the two towers. On Saturday night, we'll have a dance that's open up to the public and a night fire. And we will also have a ghost walk on the battlefield. And I would like to say that, like Jenkins, this is an actual battlefield that we're going to be fighting on, which is kind of rare. There is no fee to see the battle. There's no fee for reenactors. And we're always glad to have you there.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. If you get a chance, come to that battle. A lot of us will be there, and I believe we will have a whole lot of troops there. We also have the Battle of Leatherwood, which I've seen Carrie. If you will just give us a brief look, I hate to put you on the spot, but it's important to know that we in Eastern Kentucky continue to honor. We in Southwestern Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina. A friend of mine went to a seminar, and they were amazed by our ability to remember, because they don't. Away from here. This is Private Carey, and if you will just take a moment and tell about Leatherwood.
This is going to be the 150th anniversary of the Battle of Leatherwood. We've been working hard to get the grounds improved. We've moved 2 buildings, nice log cabins to the grounds. We're working on some stone. We want to build a stone blacksmith shop. The blacksmiths are interested in working there, and we had one last year is very popular. So we're doing a whole lot of work. We appreciate everybody to come out and attend. We are trying to encourage education, history, and entertainment. And if you go talk with about any Civil War reenactor, you can ask them who their grandfather was, their great-grandfather. They're really knowledgeable about genealogy and the history of the area.
Okay.
We have a young son.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Again, I know you're hot, so am I. We'll wrap this up. I'm not very pleased with this particular general who gave up the battle so easy. Of course, he's wearing blue. So we have decided to offer a special to another general. And what is your name, young man?
Tyler.
This is General Tyler. And General, you do the honors.
I will.
Great job.
Battalion, chin shut, shoulder arm. Be ready.
Fire.
Good job, Reach number arm.
Give that young man a round of applause. Good job. Hey, Lieutenant General. Lieutenant General, son, good job.
You want to do exactly?
This final round goes to you all for remembering. And I beg you, I plead with you, go tell other people about living history, whether it's Revolutionary War or whatever, because this is your heritage. And if we don't remember, it will be lost. Talk about this play. Talk about things that happen in your community. These children have a right to know who their ancestors were and be proud of what we have done.
I agree.
They won't know what to do.
Okay? Okay.
I think it's a girl.
How about a little girl? Could we have, here comes one, come right here. How about 2 girls? How about right here? General, we have 2 fine generalettes coming your way.
Generalettes, I like that. Which one are you talking about?
That's cute. I know y'all are hot and tired, so.
Some people
listen to you.
Shoulder, arm.
Thank you very much. Good job. Even
Outstanding.
cannons listen to them.
And what is your name, my dear?
Abigail.
General Abigail and General
Ariana.
Ariana. Oh, the names are beautiful. Thank you, girls, so much.
Can we have a final applause for the troops that come a long way and do this free of charge, please? Thank you all.
Miss Shirley.